Well, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon to you, one and all. Um, I just hopped off of an extremely important meeting, and it's just kind of settling into my spirit. I want to let you know that I appreciate so much you giving me the opportunity to push the time back, and then I have another chat to be on as soon as this one is done. But again, I am grateful and I appreciate each and every one of you for your sacrifice, for your time, for you allowing me to pour into you and allowing this opportunity of growth and development to take place. And for that, we give God glory and praise for each and every one of you. Linda, Minister Sarah, Elder Carter, Tom, thank y'all so much for being here with us on today. Why? It's still the Lord's day, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. Minister Marcia, Jemison, Wendy, Barbara, and thank y'all so much for being a part of this moment, this segment in which we are growing and developing into what God would have us to be. Wendy, how are you? Valerie, we give God glory for you and all that God is doing in your life. And I have no clue what this is. Okay. Tamika, how are you? Gladys, thank you so much for being here with me and allowing me to share with you. And so for that, we bless the name of our God. Okay. Good, Wendy. I'm so glad to hear that. Okay. And so we're going to be on here for just a little bit, and then we're going to hop off because we have another chat to be on. I want you to keep Joe Caruso lifted in prayer, and we want God to keep him. He has a heart for our community of an unbelievable level, and with the things that the monster in the White House is doing, it affects the work that he does. Lavonda, how are you? He is fine. He is well. There's nothing wrong with Compass, but just allow the Spirit of God to lead and guide him. Because I'm telling you, when it comes down to these services that are provided, LMA, how you doing? Stephanie, good to have you. And with all of these executive orders and all of these cuts and all of this heartlessness that's going on, for those of us who are embedded in the community, um, you place yourself in a position where people's existence is jeopardized by the foolishness that's going on. So glad to hear, okay, that Larry is being discharged today. The fervent prayers of the righteous avail much. And so we just want to, when you have people who care, and I'm not going to be on here long about that, but when you have people who care for the well-being of the community, we need to lift them up in prayer. I'm telling you, this fool is getting ready to decimate the entire country with his foolishness and his shenanigans and his stupidity. But I'm gonna tell you something, and then I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna tell you something. I would not want to be in his shoes when he has to face the God that he he may not really know that well. I'm not saying he don't know him. Hey, Katrina, but what I am saying, when there's someone who diametrically opposes the teachings of Jesus, Dean, how are you? Okay. Um, I wouldn't want to be in his shoes. I want to talk about Exodus chapter 14. I talked about it a little bit. And the reason that I think Exodus 14 is so powerful is because in the midst of everything that is going on, we need to know. You know, that's amazing about our God, and the thing that, thank you so much, Janice, for letting us know all as well. The thing that is so amazing about his presence and his power is he can supersede, interject in ways that are beyond man's imagination. And so, in the midst of this, we see something in verses 13 and 14, because I think this needs to be understood. Dr. James, how are you? And so we have to remember. And I went through the story. I went through the story. I'm not going to go through the whole story again, where I shared with you that the very thing that came out of Pharaoh's mouth came into Pharaoh's house. And that's the reason why you have to be real careful about what comes out of your mouth, because the power of life and death is in your tongue. Debbie, how are you? And so when they found themselves after hundreds of years of captivity, hundreds of years of slavery, God sets them free. They come to a challenge. The heart of Pharaoh is hardened, and he chases after these Hebrews who have left with the spoils of Egypt. So when God delivered them, he did not deliver them poor, he delivered them rich. But it wasn't the riches that Pharaoh was concerned about. It was the cheap slave labor. Oh boy. Boy, I could go there, but I can't jeopardize our 501c3. Nancy, how are you? It's the cheap slave labor that he wanted to bring back into Egypt. And so here they go. They're chasing after them. They're going after them. Egypt turns around and looks, and boom, what's the first thing that happens? It would have been better. And we got to be real careful about thinking that what God has delivered us out of is better than the direction that God is taking us to. Mm. And so, in the midst of this, God speaks to Moses, because now Moses is bent out of shape, because the people aren't screaming at God, they're screaming at Moses. And God speaks to him and says, "Fear not, stand firm, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will work for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be." There are sometimes, Carolyn Richardson, that rather than us fussing and going off and cussing and acting belligerent, sometimes we need to zip our lip and let God fight for us. Oh my God. If you understand the text in verses 13 and 14, God gives an assurance before manifestation takes place. And I think that for many of us, we got to wrap our minds around the fact that if God says it shall come to pass, it shall come to pass. And we don't have to keep going crazy and going off and all of that kind of stuff. Hey, Jasmine, how are you? We sometimes allow our mouths to get in the way of our miracle. Oh, can I say it one more time? Sometimes we allow our mouths to get in the way of our miracles. And I think this is something that all of us must either come to terms with, because sometimes we just need to shut up. Sometimes we just need to stop. Sometimes we need to recognize that fear, faith can't operate succinctly together at the same time. Only one of them will dominate. And so, in the midst of this, in the midst of this, in the midst of this, okay, God assures them, Jana, that you ain't never got to worry about seeing them again. He said, you see them today, but you will never see them again. I need us to understand that no matter what, no matter what, no matter what happens, no matter what jumps off, no matter what goes crazy, no matter how maddening things may seem to be, your enemy may be around today, ain't no guarantee they're going to be around tomorrow. And if you know that you know that you know that when God speaks his power, his provision, and his protection. Oh my God. And so, as all of these orders are being, and all of these rights seem to be removed, and it seems like all this other madness is taking place, I am not saying that we don't have a civic responsibility, because we do. But what I am saying is you better learn which battle is yours and which battle is his, and don't get them mixed up, because most times none of those battles are yours. It's the Lord's. Look at what he says. He said, and the Lord will fight for you. And the only thing you have to do is wait on him. Mm. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. And sometimes you got to encourage. Okay, you remember when Ziklag was burned? I hope you get this, Jasmine. You remember when Ziklag was burned? They came back. The soldiers was ready to stone David. And David didn't have an encouraging person around him, because there will come those days when you will not find one person around you who will say one thing, who will encourage you, who will let you know everything is going to be all right. You've got to learn how to encourage yourself in the Lord. You've got to learn how to tell yourself, God will fight my battle. You've got to learn how to tell yourself that if you wait on him, he'll show up, right? You have to encourage yourself to know that you will run and not be weary. You shall walk and not faint. You've got to encourage yourself that you are the head and not the tail. You've got to encourage yourself in the Lord that whatever you stand in need of, God don't have to look for it. It's already there. The Lord blessed us tremendously last night as we went before the Lord in prayer. Tremendously last night. And we're expecting to hear the reports of the miracles that God has done, is doing, and shall do. We are looking so forward to God manifesting himself in such a way that we will know without a shadow of a doubt that our God is able to do above and beyond all we could ever ask or think. Listen, I want you to have a good weekend in the Lord. Pray for Thelma and her family as we prepare to celebrate her son, David. And then pray that God will give me utterance, that I will be able to share a word from the Lord with each and every one of you on Sunday morning. Love you with the love of Jesus, who is that's right. If you missed the intercessions of last night, go back and take a look at it again and watch the power of the Holy Spirit move like never before. Because I'm telling you, I forget what day this is in our fast. Is this not the fast that we have chosen? that we loose the bands of wickedness and let the oppressed go free? Can I say it again? Is this not the fast that we have chosen? To loose the bands of wickedness and the oppressed go free? Y'all just need to know that if God be for you, who can be against you? Valerie, don't get me started. Don't make me holler. Don't make me holler. I got another chat to get on in a couple of minutes. Don't. I'm anticipating testimonies of the great things that God is doing. Y'all be blessed. I'll talk to you soon. May God bless you. May He keep you, is our prayer.